What's up, phone lovers, and welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast presented by Phandroid.com. It is the week of April 11th, 2014. I am Joe Fedewa.
And I am Chris Chavez with Phandroid.com.
I'm Kevin Krause, also with Phandroid.com.
You don't have to say you're from Phandroid. We're all from Phandroid.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think they understand. That's why I said presented by Phandroid.com.
There you go.
Saving you the work. Just to recap last week, we asked you guys what we should do with the podcast, and as you may have guessed, we're keeping it how it is. It was pretty overwhelming vote that you guys said keep doing what we're doing, so that's what we're going to do. But one good thing you guys suggested, actually something we've talked about among ourselves before, is having guests on the show, and that's something we'd like to do. And you guys said that you like it too. So what we're going to ask this week, let us know who are some people that you'd like to see on the show, and we might try and contact those people and have them on. And if you're really dedicated to having those people on the show, tweet at them or something. Tell them, be on Mobile Roar. So, leave a comment wherever you can contact us, who you want us to have on the show, and we will do our best to get them on.
Absolutely.
So, to start things off this week, we have some big news stories here. And Chris, you were campaigning for this to be a big story, so I'm just going to give it all to you.
Oh, give it to me. It's pretty big. It's a huge story. It's the whole Project Aura thing. So we've been following Project Aura closely ever since it was first announced, and nobody believed it could have been a thing. I guess initially it kind of started out as like a phone blocks. It was like a concept video that this one dude was trying to, change the way the mobile industry works by letting you take little pieces like the camera or the battery or like the RAM and be able to switch it out on like a display and, essentially upgrade or downgrade your phone accordingly. Then eventually Motorola, I guess they didn't even know, but Motorola was kind of doing the same thing or had the same idea, so they absorbed phone blocks, or that guy anyway.
Absorbed.
And Project Aura, they announced Project Aura, and this was a few months back. So what seemed like it was just never going to happen, it was just some distant, moonshot, or whatever they call that, project. It's actually kind of coming along, like development's going along or progressing pretty nicely. Yesterday, I believe it was, they announced the MDK for developers to download and start building these little modules that are going to be connecting to these like displays or whatever. I guess I should explain how it works. So there's the endoskeleton, which is just kind of just the main, what do you call like the bread, and it has little ribs on it. So it's pretty much standard. That's going to be made by Google. They're going to have these endoskeletons, and each one will have a specific set of ribs on it, so that you can connect a specific number of modules. And then they have a mini version, which is super tiny, so people that want those small little smartphones can actually have one. And then there's a medium version, and then eventually they have a large one, which you could connect like freaking 3,000 modules onto that thing. I can't even fathom what you would do with that. But the MDK is available, and then they in the MDK they detailed a lot of the guidelines that they have specifically with the modules, because that's what I guess the third-party developers and everyone are going to be building for Project Aura, and they can only be a certain height. Google's saying that they're not allowed to stick out of the phone or do anything too crazy, with the exception of the camera. The camera is the only thing that can be protruding from the back. But it was pretty cool. It gave us some new insight, I guess, onto how everything's moving along, and it seems like it's going to be a thing. The Project Aura team says that they expect to have a retail-ready version to purchase for consumers by early 2015. So this will be, January, February of next year. You might be able to jump online and purchase a Project Aura smartphone.
That's crazy.
It's nuts.
I saw the I guess it might have been last week or early this week. They released a kind of a video of what kind of has the team behind it and showed some of the progress. And I was pretty impressed with how far along this has come since it's sort of with the phone blocks thing popped up and just seemed like sort of a pipe dream. You were like, oh, this is just one guy made a video about what might be a cool concept for phones, and then all of a sudden it turns out that Motorola under Google was like, no, we've actually been exploring this idea, and I guess they got the phone blocks guy. The thing is that video last week that popped up, it was like a look at Project Ara presented by Phone Blocks. So I'm not exactly sure if Phone Blocks is completely absorbed into Google or just working with their team, because it looks like this Project Ara thing is actually on the back end. If you see this video, there is a Google team there. It's my understanding that even once Motorola is gone to Lenovo, Project Ara will stay with Google. But there is like a core team working on Project Ara, but then Google's also, I guess, contracting with some other companies, particular, I forget the name of them, but a 3D printing company that's going to handle the actual printing of the modules. So that's one. Not only is this going to be a completely new style of phone, but it's also going to test new manufacturing techniques. Is 3D printing a mass market capable technology to produce all these modules for people to buy? So they're working with a 3D printing firm, and they're working with several teams at Google are kind of mashed up on this because obviously they have to have the hardware side, but then, I mean, my assumption is, and it looked like from at least that video, that there's going to, if it's running Android, it's going to at least need to be a special built version of Android that knows how to interface with all these different modules. So it's a pretty big task, and I'm pretty impressed that not only do they have what looks like working prototypes, but they also are targeting 2015, which is also pretty crazy to think that next year is already 2015.
It just seems weird because you're trying to think, like, is there a market for this? And of course it's going to be like Android diehards and stuff, so it's just for them to just, I guess, jump on it so quickly, like, that's a great idea, we should do that, and then like a year later it's already out. That's just, it's weird, besides all the technical hurdles and all that.
I mean, there's a good chance that, Google, not to such an extreme, but Google tried to reinvent the smartphone buying process with the original Nexus 1 and the Nexus platform in general, because they wanted to go to this low-cost smartphone, no contract model. That didn't really work out as well at first. I guess it's starting to catch on a little bit more now, which is another story talking about no contract smartphones. You should go read a post by Joe on Phandroid this week to know why you shouldn't buy a phone with a contract. But anyway, back to Project Ara. I could completely see this as something where Google wants to put it out there. If it flops, whatever, that happened. Like they're testing it out. And just like with Google Glass, I mean, Google Glass is kind of just testing that out right now. They expect it to be popular, but obviously the idea might be a little bit ahead of its time. My big question is, what is going to be the bare minimum that you'll have to spend to get a fully operational Ara smartphone? Are they going to sell like a starter smartphone that you can then upgrade, or do you just buy the endoskeleton?
Ultimately,
they talked about pricing. That's actually, it's weird because you would think all like the typical whatever marketing speaker PR stuff is just we'll talk about that stuff at a later time. But no, they said the endoskeleton will be $50. They're aiming at $50 for just the endoskeleton itself.
Does that include a screen, or do you have to put a screen on top of the endoskeleton?
I believe you have to buy your own screen, so they haven't.
That's just basically what everything attaches to.
Yeah, it's like, just literally just the endoskeleton, which I believe has a small battery inside, but other than that, it has a couple little electronic circuits to interface with all the modules. But that alone is going to be $50, and of course, it's going to be interesting because you'll see just how expensive it is to build your own smartphone. I guess battery, processor. Oh, it's going to be an extra $50 for a Snapdragon 801 versus like a TI OMAP. I can get that for like $10. Like it's going to be weird. But different size displays. They have speakers that you can attach to like the front of the device, so you can have front-facing speaker. You can attach to the back-facing speaker. Different size displays. Front-facing camera, rear-facing camera. I mean, all these different things that you can kind of customize it with. There's a QWERTY keyboard one, so they have a little screen one where it's like a perfect little square display. and they have a front like a BlackBerry, keyboard where you can just.
They have a slider.
It's just so cool, and the best part is that what they're trying to do, and the project lead dude was talking about how they're trying to get it so that you can swap everything out on the fly, so you don't have to power down your device to swap something out.
That's crazy though, because you can pull out a processor and still keep it running.
Yeah, I don't understand about maybe not the processor, but he specifically mentioned the battery, which was weird because you're like, wait, what? How do you swap out a battery and pop in a new one? But I guess it's going to have a very small battery. Pop it out, pop it in really quick, and they're all magnetized little pieces, so they just
that was cool. They show in that video that the thing they settled on to actually hold these modules in place is the endoskeleton. I guess is like electromagnetized, so everything is just held on with a strong electromagnetic force. But then you gotta wonder, like, that might be strong enough, but okay. Right now, you drop your smartphone, you worry, oh, did I crack my screen? Now you're going to drop it, and all your modules, one falls down the sewer drain, and you're like totally screwed.
I lost my processor. Lost my processor, man. I don't have Wi-Fi anymore.
I'm running one core here. Could someone find the other one?
I need the other cores. I need more cores. We got 2 Gs. No, but they said they specifically mentioned in the MDK's the PDF or frequently asked questions and stuff, but they said that it will survive, or it has to survive, a 4-foot drop. So
that's not very high.
That's about like waist high. That's pretty good. And I think there were some schematics and stuff that they were drawing up, and one of them looked like there's like a snap-on case that'll hold everything into place should you want. You're clumsier than other people, I guess, and you don't want your pieces.
That makes sense. I guess there are 2 ways to go about it. I mean, I think one of their goals is to kind of embrace the design aesthetic of the modular look, so that you can actually make it, your modules not only customize the way your phone, I guess, behaves, but also the way it appears. You can get you could put in a bunch of different modules and make kind of like
different colors and make it look kind of like patchwork, whatever.
But so tight.
Putting like just a case over it, that's actually probably also cool if you just want it to be completely contained, like a smartphone. Once you get all your modules in there, just slip a case on it and
you're good to go.
And I think the way it looks is going to be a big factor in how successful it will be too. If this comes out and it's a big ugly piece of chunky mess, who's going to want it?
Well, they have their design guidelines and stuff, and as far as the modules go, but like the stuff that they're showing, that looks pretty.
Yeah, all
awesome.
the renders and whatnot, and the little test things they have all look good, but
yeah, that looks awesome. Like
I'm just still a little skeptical on what it will look like when it comes out for real. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be like a G1. It could be freaking huge and ugly, but it's
because no one has ever done this before, so. Usually things do not, things that are groundbreaking like this usually do not come out and look super polished and amazing from the start.
If this does catch on, which I think it has a chance to, you're probably waiting until Generation 2 to see it start to really come into what it should be. I guess another question about popularity is, will Samsung be making these? Who are the developers that are going to be making these modules? Not will, I think will, but are they going to be able to get big companies interested? Will Qualcomm be releasing Snapdragon modules?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think processor makers, there's a huge advantage for them and a huge incentive for them. They can get people to start buying their product specifically and not just a phone that happens to come with their processor. People might actually see, I want to get the NVIDIA,
And that's awesome because again, you already see competition now, but now it's when you're selling direct to consumers, that's just a whole nother ball game, and now they're going to be competing even more, and it's
And
insane.
Think about other components camera. All of a sudden, maybe Nokia wants to come out with some camera components. I want to get the Nokia camera.
I'm telling you, man, I got goosebumps.
It could be crazy.
I literally have goosebumps. This stuff is me.
Well, the cool concept about the camera is, especially if you can change modules on the fly, then you kind of you can have like a little camera bag and you can pop out, oh, I need the macro lens right now, or oh, I need this telephoto lens.
Oh my gosh, that's
you
so
know,
true.
We better hold on.
Yeah.
Chris is about to explode.
I literally got goosebumps just thinking about how awesome that would be. Like, I'm
Chris
losing,
having a huge nerdgasm over
I'm
there.
losing my shiznit. Like, honestly, it's so crazy. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if this does catch on,
just keep
has
going.
potential to be huge.
Think of some other. I just want to hear you guys throw out some more ideas because this is like.
We're not gonna get you off, Chris.
I gotta turn off my camera for a second.
But yeah, I think this definitely has a lot of potential, but there's a lot of factors like the look, the price, and all of this that are going to play a huge part in whether or not it is a fail or a win. So.
Oh, we got a question on Google Plus, and it's from Edgar Cervantes.
Ooh, where are you reading these questions?
Our good friend Edgar Cervantes. He says. He's actually just left a comment on the actual post that Mobile World Podcast is live on Google Plus. So
okay.
He said, "What if I want buttons in the back?" Oh God!
Yeah, LG will start marketing. Hey.
Oh my gosh!
Back button for your.
That is so cool.
You can put the button wherever you want. They'll just get that button module.
Dude, that is so tight. You can put it on the side a little bit, so you can just easily like.
That actually is a question. Can you put any of the modules on the side, or is it just front and back?
It's just front and back right now. That's what they're showing. And then
But yeah, you will need a back button.
Well, yeah. What modules would be the ones that would contain like your power on/off button? Are that built into the endoskeleton?
And,
like
I'm guessing that stuff will. Yeah, the volume and power will be built into the endoskeleton. But as far as the charging for like the USB and all that. They said that will be another module too, or it'll come with like you build a battery module and you can have a USB thing built into it or whatever. So that's not even going to be built into the endoskeleton itself. So that's kind of interesting too because you can like right now we have what is it USB 2.0 or something micro USB 2.0.
Yeah.
But it was recently leaked, that they're working on USB 3.1 and the micro one is reversible, so it can go either way, like the lightning cable on an iPhone. So that's
thank God.
Pretty awesome. And just imagine just all those little things. It's like, oh, they come out with a new standard. I'll just buy a module for it, and it's like, it just blows my freaking mind just to think about that.
But how do you handle Android updates when you're not like a specific phone specific? That's what I would like to know. Like, who is responsible for that?
I mean, that stuff is very technical, and on the software side, they said it's all just going to be running Android. They said the applications will largely be exactly the same as they are now, very little differences at all. And I'm sure they're handling all that like on the endoskeleton itself, how everything connects, I guess.
Plus, I think Google, I don't think they've been planning for this for a while. This is a newer development, but they have been stripping a lot of the OS away and putting it in the Google Play Store. So it's so much easier to get those updates. It might not even be a big deal eventually.
Yeah, I think updates are going to be a thing of the past. Eventually. We're seeing how just OEMs and stuff are just making everything like incredibly modularized, and Google's trying to address this like hugely. They don't want another Windows XP fiasco where it's like a billion people are still using Windows XP and no one's using the new stuff. So they're definitely handling it, but. They said as far as the shopping experience, they want to do it a lot like Moto Maker, where you go onto the website and you just buy your little modules and attach them, and then they'll ship them to you. So this is all stuff that's like down the pipeline, and it's so crazy that it's so close. It's weird. Gets me all excited.
Well, hopefully later on down the line, when we're on this podcast, we can talk about using it, having it in our hands. Okay, so let's move on to our last big story, and this is relevant because of what we talked about last week. So over the weekend, a screenshot of Android TV leaked, and last week, if you recall, we were talking about Amazon Fire TV and Roku and Google TV and all that type of stuff. So this is Google's new direction to replace Google TV, and the screenshot was very, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it looked a lot like a Roku and a Fire TV. It was more about streaming media apps and not so much. I don't think it had any integration with TV anymore. Is that right? I think that's right.
Yeah, it looked like it was a standalone thing, so
Right.
it'll be, yeah, there's no like pass-through or
I don't
anything.
know why people are moving away from that. That's where people should be heading. I don't know that there's just something to be said about that inline integration. It works so much better.
I
And not
honestly just think they don't want to deal with the
getting an
TV
extra
companies
issue.
Exactly,
and
cable
yeah.
companies and all that stuff is where they're trying to like block this stuff from happening. So like, all right, forget it. We'll just go to a different input.
Because Google did. They tried it. They tried that pretty
Yep.
hardcore. And if they are backing away, then I think that says a lot.
I mean, I don't know if they tried. I don't know if I'd say hardcore is how much effort they put into Google TV.
Yeah, they probably could have tried more, but I mean, they did try it. And we don't know what happened in the background
Yeah.
and stuff. So I feel
mean,
like if they're not doing that anymore, that might be saying something.
I just don't see why a cable company would be that upset. Like the most that it does is it adds search functionality to your TV box that your regular cable box probably doesn't have, but it doesn't really do anything to. I mean, you can't be like, oh, now I have Google TV, I'm giving less money to Comcast or whoever is your cable provider.
Cable companies are weird, man.
Yeah, honestly, you would be surprised. Oh, I mean, it's the same with the music industry and like movies and all this stuff. It's just like, it's so stupid how these guys think. I don't know who they are.
They get so
Dinosaurs.
nervous anytime there's like any type of app because they see that as
Oh,
you're not using their thing. Oh, you're watching Netflix. You're not watching TV.
yeah, wait a minute. No, it's too much
I mean, I guess
competition.
the opposite is that Apple, the next generation Apple TV, supposedly they are, or at least the rumors from sources close to the discussions are that they are trying to build a subscription TV service in partnership with cable companies, but I don't know if that would still be in line or a separate thing, but I don't know. Google
think
TV,
another
the best
factor-
feature of Google TV was the through for your HDMI in and out. Now you gotta. I'm lost. I'm lost if Android TV loses that.
Yeah. I think another thing is, a lot of the cable companies, they already offer ways to buy like movies and stuff. So I think there is competition there because if you have, like you do have Amazon app on your TV, you're probably going to buy a movie from Amazon and not DirecTV. So, I mean, I guess there is some competition there, but how many people are honestly buying movies and stuff from like Dish and DirecTV? Do you think a lot of people do that?
Yeah, well, I guess that goes back to the having it go. I mean, it's a convenience issue. If you're on your cable box TV input, and it's easy to just go to the movie buying page on their on demand and buy the movie there. That's easy, straightforward. But I mean, I understand that part because I watched Captain Phillips the other day, and I wanted to find it online. I looked on my on demand because I was like, that'll be the easiest. I won't have any issues with laggy internet or Wi-Fi problems or streaming. But it was like $5.99 there. So then I Googled it. I just typed it into Google TV, and it came up with Amazon and even the Google Play, and all those versions were cheaper by a few dollars. So I just went with that.
There you go, right there. That might be a big reason for it.
Yeah, probably.
All right,
It's all
so
my fault.
I guess you guys think we'll see anything about Android TV at I/O?
Definitely.
If it's leaking now, I think we will, but I just get nervous about it because it seems like every time Google gears up to do a big Android-based internet TV kind of thing, they kind of launch it and then they forget about it. I mean,
well, I think they learned their lesson probably, and I can see them coming out with this and undercutting the Fire TV with price, and people will be like, oh, and just impulse buy it.
Everything Google does, it's always like they disrupt the market, and even when like the first Nexus 1 launched, and even though it was really expensive back then, but offering it up, selling it direct to consumers, unlocked, and having it on Verizon and all this stuff, it was just didn't really turn out.
Nexus 1 was never on Verizon.
No, it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Back then, it was supposed to be. I
had remember that because I wanted it and it never came to Verizon.
Yeah, they had like the leak where it was like, look, it said Verizon Wireless or something, and it never actually happened because Verizon was like, no. We need our bloat on this if we're gonna have it on Verizon. So they completely blocked it. But that just seems like what always happens with Google. Now they're trying to build their Google Fiber network so that they will have their own ISP and their own wireless network, which is rumored, and it's like it needs to be done. And all hail Google.
I'll wait for Project Ara TV.
Piece together your own TV. Oh my gosh! Just think about that for a second.
No, don't.
Like a Chrome laptop, and you're piecing it in the back. It's got all pieces and the modules, and you're building your own laptop, just snapping the pieces. And oh my gosh, I'm so.
All right, let's move on before Chris has a heart attack. Okay, so like we mentioned last week, Kevin and I are writing for Phandroid now, and we're kind of writing editorial-type featured things, and we wanted to talk about a couple that we wrote this week that were kind of fun. One I wrote, it's called The 5 Types of Android Users You Meet, and apparently a lot of people identified with this because
it was awesome.
It kind of blew up. So what I did is I kind of looked at a bunch of home screen threads where people share their home screens, and I classified all Android users into 5 groups, and we'll see. Let us know what one you guys fall into if you haven't answered this yet. So we got the stock jock, and that's just basically someone who doesn't change much. They open their phone out of the box and they don't really alter it that much. The item they would order at McDonald's, Happy Meal, and their favorite beverage, orange icy.
See, I disagree with you on that point.
Yeah, you had a good point, because the classic, but you know what, I should have made it? The very first thing McDonald's ever sold was milkshakes and cheeseburger.
That's it, a milkshake and a cheeseburger.
That's what it should have been.
Yeah.
A classic, yeah. Or like a Whopper. No, wait, Whopper's not McDonald's.
The second person is the themer, and this is someone who just goes crazy with themes, changing icons, changing lock screens. I mean, some of these screenshots you can't even tell it's an Android phone. It's pretty ridiculous. And the thing they would order from McDonald's is the craziest, longest name I could find on their menu: Premium Crispy Chicken Ranch BLT.
That's like my favorite item, just FYI.
It is very good. And their beverage, Mountain Dew Code Red.
Oh.
Those are great.
I need it for all those late night gaming sessions.
Yeah, I got to play some Halo and some Code Red. Isn't that how Code Red originally started? Wasn't it a Halo promotion?
Drink or something, yeah.
Yeah. The third category is the minimalist, and I think this is probably the one that I would fall into. This is someone who they want everything very neat and very tidy, very stark. They have flat icons, maybe black and white only. Chris, I think you might fall on this one if you ever did themes.
Nah, mine's kind of, I don't know. I can see if I can kind of show you mine right now. I wouldn't say minimal. It's a little bit of everything.
It looks like a minimal themer stock jock. You're like all of them.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a little bit of everything.
So the item this person would order from McDonald's is just plain old the hamburger, no cheese, just the hamburger. And their favorite beverage would be, hey, can I get a cup of water?
Oh yeah.
Now the fourth one I do not understand. I called it the hot chick, and this is the person who has scantily clad female as their wallpaper.
See, this I got a little confused about because when I saw the hot chick, I thought you meant the user was the hot chick.
Nope.
Then I had to register that it means they just like having the picture.
They have a hot chick on their home screen.
Which I would assume that would be Chris, but
yeah.
I don't get this one. Who are these people that walk around in the world and just whip out their phone and there's a girl with no clothes on their home screen?
Well, I mean, apparently Google is pulling those apps from the Play Store, right? The erotic wallpaper apps.
Yeah.
And
erotica.
So the food item I give this person from McDonald's is the double quarter pounder with cheese, because that is the item that has the most calories that I could find. Because this is someone that clearly just does not give a damn.
Well, and they like those buns too.
And their beverage is Surge.
Ooh,
Hmm.
Surge. Do they still make Surge?
Apparently, it's an energy drink now. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think it was always an energy drink. They might just have been. And now they're being honest with themselves about it.
Right.
I had real life Surge commercials like at my birthday party once. I will never forget my dad where I had a birthday party and he just holds up a 2 liter of Surge. Who wants this? Everyone just loses their mind.
Is your dad
Why would
still
any
alive?
parent give a room full of children Surge? That just
Yeah, that
doesn't
doesn't.
make sense.
It's a very valid question.
Not a very good move. Not too smart.
All right, so the fifth and last category is the ugly duckling, and Android lets you do a lot, and that power is just too much for some people, and they
All I
make
have to say is on Google Plus. There's a Nexus 5. Where they have those a community, and people post their screenshots all the time. And the ugly duckling, I can't tell you how many I've seen, and I just go, oh, like every time, and I like try to scroll past it all quick because I'm just like, how did anybody? They never get any +1s. They're just like, hey, check out my home screen, and it just has the most hideous looking.
You know what though? And if that person likes that, so
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, you get some pretty ugly things. And the thing I wrote on here, like the story of the ugly duckling, there is beauty in even the ugly things in life. You just have to wait long enough to see it. In the case of these home screens, you only have to wait for the screen to turn off. So the item they would order at McDonald's is the grossest thing I could find, and I'll probably offend some people with this, the McRib.
Everyone loves the McRib.
It's so gross, though. Like, I know everyone loves it, but it's just so gross. It tastes good, but when you just, think about what it is, it's so gross.
The funny thing is it is really rib meat, but what a lot of people don't know is that chicken nugget is, primarily rib meat and, a little bit of chicken in there. So, something to think about.
And the beverage they would drink was suggested by Kevin, Crystal Pepsi.
Oh, blast from the past.
So that was a fun article.
I like how everyone in the article was commenting on Crystal Pepsi. They're like, "Oh man, Crystal Pepsi."
Everybody I know how many people that listen to. I don't know. I feel like the audience out there. I don't know. Crystal Pepsi is something where you could have missed that if you're a little bit younger, because that was the early '90s.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I was alive during that time, but I have no recollection of it because I was way too young.
I remember having Crystal Pepsi. It was like a huge, a big deal. I was like, "This is so cool," and then they took it off the market.
I actually saw something on Reddit the other day. You know, the soda Tab that Coke made?
Oh yeah.
Apparently they made that just to kill Crystal Pepsi.
What? No way.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, let us know what one you are if you haven't read that article yet.
So I think I'm between. The stock jock is definitely. I'm never messed with themes, but but I also feel the minimalist. So maybe I'm kind of right there with you, Joe, like in between the stock jock and the minimalist.
Yeah, but I had phases. Like I remember when I first got Android, I was probably the stock jock, and then I went to hardcore themer, and then after you theme for a long time, you think, oh, I'm really good at this, and so then you end up going to the minimalist because you think you're so sweet and an awesome designer. But then I remember going back to stock jock, so I think everyone kind of goes through all of these at one point.
Yeah, it's like adolescence, It's like you get that pyro stage where you want to burn everything, just light things on fire, and then you move on. But
all right, so Kevin, you had another really fun article that I enjoyed. Tell us about that.
So this week the Galaxy S5 is coming out, and even though I'm sure, or some people are going to be underwhelmed, some people have their opinions on the Galaxy S5. But say what you will about it, it's a lot better than the devices that made my list of the top most WTF devices ever made by Samsung. And so, I mean, as the name describes, these are devices that just kind of left us going, okay, why did they make this? What's the reason? So this is a combination of ugly phones, stupid concepts, things that never really caught on. Um, so I picked 7 of them. I won't go through every single one, but we can run down some of these. So the Galaxy Mega was my first entry. It's arguable whether this should be on the list. I had a kind of was on the fence about it, but I ultimately decided that when a phone like the Note exists, a phone like the Mega really has no place. It doesn't really.
What was the
doesn't offer
screen
much.
size on that one? Like
6.3 inches.
Yeah, it's just too damn big.
It's too big. This is what I consider a what I call a tablet, a small tablet masquerading as a big smartphone.
Yeah,
It
it's
works
not
as
even
a
a
phone.
tablet.
Yeah, so this is the ultimate symbol of the phablet, the confusion that is the phablet. And then I had the Galaxy Music, which is an entry-level device, so I feel kind of bad ripping on it because it's not like they tried to make a big deal out of this phone, but it did attempt to be a music. It just wanted to be a phone and an MP3
Was this
player.
Wi-Fi only?
The Galaxy Music? No, this was a phone.
Oh, it was a phone.
Yeah, it was a phone, but it wanted to be an MP3 player too, so it had stereo speakers built in and built-in hardware playback buttons. But my question is, what about a regular smartphone isn't sufficient to be a player? So why did you have to make this? I got some flack for my next one, the Galaxy Gear. People have their opinions about the Galaxy Gear. It made this list because I might be alone on this one, but I think it's pretty ugly. And also, less than 6 months later, they stopped pushing the Galaxy Gear and released a new line of watches. So I dubbed this one a prototype that should have just stayed behind
I'm
yours.
in agreement with you on that one.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean it's definitely. I don't know how some people were trying to argue it in the comments. So it's like, no man, the Galaxy Gear, like nobody bought it. It was just to test the waters. Like Samsung admitted it themselves. Like this wasn't even our final, whatever. And they freaking released a sequel a couple months after that. So
I bet that wasn't even true. I bet it was like their final, and they thought it was really awesome, and then they're just like, well,
shoot.
we're not even done yet. Shut up.
Call Billy. We're doing overtime. Get Johnson in here.
And then after the Gear, back to smartphones. I kind of wanted to put the Galaxy camera on this list, but the Galaxy camera, it's good for what it is. It's a smart camera with Android on it, and it's not too bad. It gets some decent shots. But I thought they went a step too far when they made the Galaxy S4 Zoom, which it's a Galaxy S4, so it's a good phone. But why throw on that chunky optical zoom on there? It's cool. I mean, it's a 16 megapixel optical zoom. Probably takes some decent pictures, but it kind of eliminates the portability of it a little bit. And then for whatever reason, they're going to apparently make a Galaxy S5 zoom. I'm surprised that the S4 zoom sold enough to justify that, but you can never really.
It doesn't.
tell.
That's the thing with Samsung. Yeah, Samsung, you don't have to sell a lot. They're just like, man, we got all this freaking manufacturing. We can just release whatever we want, even
It's
if no
almost
one
like they're
buys
just
it.
trying to fill out a resume. Like they
Yeah.
don't even care if it sells. They're just like, hey, we made this one time.
Let's throw it out there. See who buys it.
And then, and the next device I actually have mixed feelings about because I might be in the small camp that actually thinks this is a pretty cool idea for a smartphone, but just executed terribly by Samsung. The Samsung Galaxy Beam, which is
So stupid.
at the time it was a mid-range-esque smartphone with a built-in Pico projector that could project onto a surface a few feet away. So instead of sharing.
How many
videos
feet
and photos,
exactly could this project? Do you know?
I think it had to be within 50 inches of the surface that it was
Oh
projecting.
my god.
So what's that, like?
How
3 or
big
4
could it
feet?
even project the thing? Like, how big could the image be?
It's probably like, well, I don't know how many inches that is, but probably like a little bit bigger, like maybe 24 inches or something. So like a 24-inch TV. But even then, your phone has to be really close to like the wall.
Yeah, like you need something to set it on that's
you
like
gotta
a
prop
good
it
angle.
up.
Yeah.
You gotta have video. I mean, it's honestly the idea is not bad, and I don't think like no one's really faulting Samsung for any of these devices. Like, oh, these guys are idiots. they really do just test the waters on everything. And when the Galaxy Beam was first announced, I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea, but I was just like, it's so big and ugly.
What was the year on this, Kevin?
Well,
Impact.
they actually first even released photos and announced this phone in 2010, but then we didn't really hear about it for a few more years until it resurfaced in 2012 at Mobile World Congress. We actually got some hands-on video with it at that time.
Yeah, I kind of feel like someone in the comments mentioned that they thought it was a little ahead of its time. I actually think it's behind its time. I think projectors were a lot cooler.
Well, I'll tell you what,
2000s.
You can turn any Android smartphone into a Galaxy Beam with a $30 Chromecast. So.
Oh.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, people cast stuff to their TVs now. They don't project it. So I think it was behind its.
I guess if you don't have a TV around. But yeah, so that's the Galaxy Beam. Next up, there was a sort of little rush to release the curved AMOLED displays last year.
We wanted to be first. They were first. I'll give them that. They were first.
We got LG's G Flex, which actually, I don't know if it's because it's actually a better design or a better phone, but the G Flex has actually started. It came out in the U.S. It's a little more widely known. But then there was the Galaxy Round that Samsung released, which was the first curved smartphone, but it didn't really see a wide release. And whereas the G Flex curves, I guess, from like if you were holding the phone to your face, it would curve from your ear to your mouth. Yeah, it's more like a banana. The Round curves from edge to edge, so
it's like a taco.
Yeah. So what was?
Jake, you owe me a soda.
Galaxy Taco.
You look at the Galaxy Round and you just think, Samsung, you made this just to show us that you could make this.
Yep.
But it's actually a very powerful phone. It's got a almost 6-inch HD display, quad-core processor, 3 gigabytes of RAM, a 13-megapixel camera. So in many ways, the Galaxy Round is almost probably a better overall device than the S5 in terms of specs in some ways. But it had that weird round thing. It had some features where you could tilt the phone to like make it do stuff. And then of course, any device that has this should be on this list, but what we've dubbed Slether, the S leather, the faux leather finish.
S leather.
Slether.
And coming in at number 1, the absolute dumbest Samsung device of all time. Maybe not the dumbest, but
it made no sense. And someone was actually someone was legit defending this.
I actually remember I went to
I forgot what number 1 is. Tell me.
I went. Yeah, I'm getting there. Let me give you the little story.
I have no patience, Kevin. Just tell me right now.
I remember it was the fall of 2010, and I went to. This was a few months after the Galaxy S came out. I was invited to a Samsung event in New York City. I went, was excited, thought we were going to see some kind of really cool Galaxy device. But no, what we saw was the Samsung Continuum, the Samsung Galaxy Continuum. Which was a Verizon exclusive based off the original Galaxy S, and it included the dumbest little secondary ticker display. So if you can imagine what the S View case kind of does now, they had this permanently built into the bottom of the phone.
That's a good analogy. That is what it was.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, they haven't abandoned the idea entirely, but I guess they refined it. But this had a secondary display. I guess the concept was you could tap on the sides of the phone and it would just highlight the ticker display so you could see your notifications, and maybe that was to save battery power or something by not turning on the main display. But overall,
I specifically I remember like actually seeing this thing in like Verizon Christmas commercials and stuff, and it was they tried to sell this thing.
They did. They tried, and it didn't make any darn sense. I think it probably would have even made better sense to put the display on the back somewhere, or like the side, or I don't know, somewhere where.
Well, they couldn't, because the thing I remember finding out about it, which made it so dumb, is that it actually wasn't 2 displays. It was 1 display, and then there was a paint strip between it, and they would only turn on the bottom part because it was like AMOLED.
Yeah.
So it wasn't 2 displays. It was just 1 long display divided.
Oh my gosh, this is so dumb.
It's the long display.
Dude, actually, I should look it up, but I want to see how big. If you would have connected that, that's probably one of the biggest smartphone displays of its time. That's freaking That's crazy.
You know what? It literally looks like those Photoshops that people did when they made the iPhone longer, and then they had like, oh, the iPhone 6 could be even
Oh my
taller. It
God.
looked exactly like that. It was just the longest phone you ever saw.
So pointless, man.
But that's the list. If you disagree or agree or whatever, I mean, you can jump on Phandroid and
If you disagree, you're
find the
wrong.
article. Those are our choices for the most what the F Samsung devices. So uh, don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go check out those
yeah.
articles. And we've been doing a lot of cool featured stuff this week, so go check that out. But now we got to move on, and I'm just going to read some of these quick hit things. We're not even going to talk about it because we're running out of time. I'm just going to read the titles. iTunes overhaul, Spotify-like streaming, and an Android app may be coming. Apple is considered, past tense, acquiring Square, the mobile payments people. The iWatch could launch with a range of pricing and design options, and the Galaxy S5 launches on Friday, just PSA. And the Windows Phone 8.1 dev preview is coming next week, probably on Monday. So, without further ado, wins and fails of the week. Kevin, start us off.
My win for the week is going to be the If This Then That IFTTT beta for Android. Finally, a native app is out. And while you can still do a lot of stuff with If This Then That, just logging in through the web browser, the cool thing about what the app enables is it's going to be able to integrate native Android services into the different recipes that you can make. So you'll be able to, have every time I take a photo and it saves in my gallery, upload to Dropbox or whatever. You can do different things like that. So that's really cool. It's in beta now. I'm not sure when they plan on launching it, but hopefully that'll be soon since it's already in beta. You can check out on Phandroid. I put together a list of some of my favorite If This Then That recipes that you can use right now without even having the beta app. And if you are part of that beta, they already closed the signups, but if you manage to get in, then you can also use those to your advantage as well. So that's my win of the week. My fail of the week is that it recently was revealed that Facebook will soon require all users to get the separate Messenger app if they want to be able to send and respond to messages on their mobile devices. It's no longer going to be good enough just to have the regular Facebook app. You're going to need to have both on your phone.
You think that's a fail?
I think it's a fail. I mean, I understand it's a more full-featured app. It's a better app to message with. But so I casually message with Facebook. I don't want Facebook to be my primary messaging platform. I don't really want a Facebook Messenger app on my phone. It's just another thing that I have to deal with.
I guess I'll stand up for the other side. I actually started using Facebook Messenger as my messaging app. Like, I was using Hangouts, and I decided to switch when it came out for Windows Phone. So I don't mind it. I mean, I guess it's good to let people use both, but I understand it because it's so different than the one built in. I can see why they would want to force people to use the one that they're actually like updating and making better and stuff. There should be a better way though, because there are going to be so many people that are going to, when it's gone, they're going to be like, what the heck? I mean, is there going to be like a download link, or I mean, how are they even going to do that?
They said when you click the messages now, you'll have a pop-up that'll say, "Oh, you need to download Messenger from your Google or your App Store," and then you click that, and it takes you to like the separate application. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I like Messenger. I think it's an awesome application. I love chat heads. Like when it first came out, I was all about it, and I use it fairly frequently. I mean, there's some people on there that I do contact, but I just think it's really stupid to require that now because it just doesn't make sense. It's really weird.
I don't understand why they can't why can't they put the same features in there? Like, I don't understand that.
I think it really does boil down to just they want to direct you towards their Messenger application, in the hopes that you'll start using it more because you'll see like, oh, this is a nice app, whatever. So I get their motivations. I don't think it's like a technical limitation or anything. I don't think there's anything preventing them from keeping it the way it is. I think it's just more like they probably have millions of Facebook users that use messages on Facebook but don't have Messenger
Messenger.
downloaded. Let's get him to download one more app.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess I'm up now. My win of the week. First of all, I did not even know the show existed still. But Arsenio Hall apparently still has a talk show.
Well, it just came back recently. He got
Did
it.
it?
Yeah,
I don't even know what channel it is. Do you?
No, I haven't really watched too much of it.
I'm gonna say like CW or something probably.
13? Channel 13? Is that a channel still? 13?
No, I don't know. It's on somewhere, and a lot of the Windows Phone sites picked this up this week, but they did a little bit where he had Cortana and Siri on as guests, and
I saw it last night.
he just started asking them questions, and it started off as like a typical like comparison. Oh, which one's better? But then Cortana started giving Siri a little bit of attitude, and actually like swearing and calling her out and having a little fight, and it was really well done and really funny. And I think
I haven't seen this. Do they have two actual women, or they have just two devices?
They lowered like a TV screen down, and then they had the devices on like the screen, so it was like a video that they had made prior. It wasn't like even the real interfaces of Siri and Cortana either. It was just it was really well done. Watch it if you haven't seen it. But it's my win because I think Microsoft needs that type of coverage, like in the mainstream. Though Arsenio show is probably not that mainstream.
How much coverage Cortana has gotten? I mean, I was just watching my local news channel last week after they announced Cortana, or whatever, the week after they announced Cortana, and they had a segment on the local news channel about it. I was like, oh, that's something you don't normally see covered.
It's amazing what I think giving it a personality and a name is the reason why it's getting that coverage, because Siri got a ton of coverage when it came out. Google Now didn't really, because I mean it's not fun, you know. It's like when you put a personality and like a name to these things, it's kind of a fun, quirky thing to talk about and joke about, and you can't really do that with Google Now.
Yeah, like that's what I was thinking too. I was like, oh man, they should have had Google Now on there, but I'm like, what would they even do? You can't. There's no personality. There's no like anything. I don't.
It's extremely handy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
it's
Google Now's
not
freaking
a fun
awesome.
thing to joke about on late night TV. So yeah, I think we'll start seeing a lot more of that since there are these two personal assistants with like personalities now. I think we'll start seeing a lot more of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so my fail of the week. I don't even know that much about these devices. I just saw this on Phandroid. They're literally, the articles were back to back, but apparently the HTC M8 Ace and the Samsung Galaxy S5 Ace are phones that exist.
Ace in the hole.
They have the same name. That's my fail, is that they have the same name. Like,
so what does Ace represent though?
I have I don't even know.
When they make like the Mini, you know what that is. When they make the Pro, you know what that is. But what is the Ace?
It's probably like mid-range or something, cheaper. I don't know, but it's so dumb that they're using the same name. That's my fail. I just think that's
Samsung Galaxy S5 Ace Zoom.
Beam music round.
Oh, that would be an awesome Photoshop. Is combine all the Samsung what the Fs into a single phone and like.
I mean, if you have the Mega in there, it's big enough that you can put all that stuff on it.
Hey, then you build it with Project Ara, and then.
I gotta get that beam block, man.
That's a good module. You guys should start developing a projector module. That's awesome.
Oh, jeez.
You guys got me going.
Chris, you're
got me going again. Okay, so my wins and fails for the week is going to be the win for the week is going to be the HTC One M8. Just when we thought we knew everything there was to know about the device, they came out of nowhere. Some folks from France. It was like a French tech blog. They actually measure the screen latency or the touch latency or display, how quickly it registers your touch and how quickly the UI follows it. So they found out that the HTC One M8 out of nowhere completely obliterated the competition. Like I believe it was like all the Apple devices were always reigning at the top, and then the Galaxy Note 3 recently took the crown as #1 quickest display, and the HTC One M8, I think it had like a 42 millisecond
Were there Windows phones in this?
touch response. I think there was, yeah, I think there was.
I've always
but
felt
I'm
like
not sure.
Windows Phone has really good at that too.
Yeah, it was actually Microsoft. There was a previous article that I linked to in the post from a while back where Microsoft was talking about this, and they showed using this weird projector and stuff how, screen and all that stuff, our touch response actually affects the user interface, and how it's ridiculous how most of our phones these days, or back then anyway, they were so slow at following your finger and tracking it and stuff. But I guess now it's a lot better, and HTC One M8 out of nowhere, it's just to me it highlights one of those weird little features or quirks that you don't see in spec lists. And with Android fanboys, all they want to see is 3 gigabytes of RAM. They just want to see a quad-core processor. But there's all these other little things, that add to the user experience that just, you kind of forget about. But so that's gonna be my win. My fail is going to be the Galaxy S5 hammer test. Hammer time. I think everyone's seen it because it kind of went viral in the tech community.
Viral.
Even like on video game blogs were posting. I think I saw it on Kotaku or whatever. But
I think it was even hot on Google Plus.
Which is saying a lot. So some kid got I don't know what's up with all these people nowadays, but I guess it gets the hits on YouTube. So the newest trend right now is smashing whatever brand new smartphone is out and completely destroying them. So this guy, he kind of that's what his YouTube channel is about. He has like all these broken iPhones, all these, I don't know where he gets money, but this time his latest victim. That's a good question. I mean, I'm sure maybe he's doing it and he's using insurance possibly, and since he doesn't show his face,
better hope they never find this YouTube channel.
Exactly. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah. So he gets a hammer, a mallet, whatever. He's testing it out with a knife and all this stuff, and then eventually he's like, "All right, here comes the fun part." Starts slamming it with the mallet, and after he flips it over, slams the back of it. It smashed the battery. The battery starts puffing up like a balloon, explodes, spins around like a firework. It literally just and it's spitting out all this like cancerous lithium.
Yeah, it actually killed him too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
no, it did not.
It's the funniest thing because you could hear he inhaled those few. If I was like, "Oh shoot," and I would have just ran away, but he was just like, "Oh shoot, what's going on here?" And you could hear him coughing. He's like, and then at the end, it's like the most beautiful line ever. He just, I guess he yells to his brother, he's like, "Hey Mike, get the Febreze or something." And it's just at that point I lost it. I just completely
Febreze.
Like, I don't know, like Febreze for what? Like, I just don't get it. But it's the coolest thing ever. And I've never seen. I mean, you always hear of batteries exploding and all this other weird stuff, but to actually see it happen in real time and all this stuff was beautiful.
Actually, when I started writing on Phandroid, I was trying to find like all my old Android stuff, and none of them work anymore. But I found this Samsung. What was the AT&T one that had the slide-out keyboard? Do you remember?
There's too many.
Okay, well, anyway, it was one of the Samsung Galaxies that had a slide-out keyboard, and I just found it, and the battery, it's been just sitting in a closet for like probably a couple of years. The battery did that. It ballooned up. It's like...
It was all puffed up?
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell? So is that going to explode?
Dude, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to, or going to leak out. Usually batteries, like a regular battery that you have in your remote, whatever, they do the same thing, but usually they just start leaking. And I'm sure the same thing's going to happen to that one. Usually I only see them puff up like that when they're like left in a car and the heat and all that stuff makes them all puffy, but that's weird. Maybe this is a Samsung thing.
Maybe.
Because he smashed plenty of iPhones and all these other phones and stuff, and none of that stuff ever puffed up and squirted.
Well, iPhones don't run on batteries. They run on like unicorns and magic, don't they?
That's so true.
Yeah.
So true. How could I forget?
All right, Kevin, what is your app pick of the week?
My app pick of the week is FTL, faster than light for iPad. This game is not necessarily new at all. You might have played it on PC, other platforms, but it just came to iPad, and it's a little bit on the pricey side. It's $10, but I thought it was well worth it. It's a sort of a turn-based strategy type space flight game. It's hard to explain, but you have to you control a spaceship and its crew as you try to make it across this entire solar system, jumping from point to point, encountering other enemy spaceships along the way. You have to fight those spaceships off while you upgrade your weapons and your components and add crew members, and there's fires break out, and it's very intense. It's a pretty steep learning curve, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it can be pretty addictive. So if you've played it before, or if you've never played it at all, but you want to get it for iPad, I highly recommend it. It is a little expensive again, but I've been having a good time getting into it.
All right. My app pick of the week, is Baconit Beta, which is a Windows Phone app for Reddit. And this app, Baconit, has been around for a really long time. It's probably like the best Reddit app I've ever used on any platform. But just this week, I saw that the developer is releasing a beta program now, so you can sign up for that and get constant updates of features that he's testing and hasn't released for the main version yet. So if you're interested in Baconit and you're a hardcore user of that, you should sign up for the beta and get some early access to cool features.
Baconit. My app pick for the week is going to be Carousel. It's a new application from the developers of Dropbox. So I think it was about 2 years ago almost that they purchased a little website called Snapjoy, and Snapjoy allowed you to share photos with your friends and family and allow them to comment on them and all this stuff. So when Dropbox purchased them, everyone's like, holy crap, they're probably going to release a similar product, and it took a while, but that is now Carousel. It's available for iOS and Android, and what it does is it groups all your photos, keeps them all nice and organized, and backs them up to Dropbox, and you can share them quickly and easily with friends and family. They can comment on them. They can contribute and add their own photos into like a specific event or whatever, and I recommend getting it. But probably not Mailbox. Dropbox also announced a new email app called Mailbox that's been out for iOS for a while. Probably want to stay away from that one. I didn't really care for it too much.
So your app pick is don't download it.
Carousel
is cool, Mailbox isn't.
Yeah, Mailbox had so much hype when it first came out for iOS because it was like invitation only, but since then I haven't heard so much hype about it. It's kind of died off a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of not too great.
All right, so that's going to wrap things up for this week, and I just want to remind everybody, again, let us know who you would be interested in seeing on our show as a guest, and let us know, and we'll try to get in touch with some of those people and maybe have them on the show. Without that, okay, you can email us at podcast@mobileroar.com, which that's another place you can send us who you want to be on the show. You can also subscribe to the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Windows Phone Store, anywhere else. You can follow us on Twitter. Chris is at GamerCore, Kevin is at You Don't Know Kev, and I am at Tall Schmo. And we will see you guys next week. Peace. Take care.